Hello and welcome to marketing91.com. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on classical conditioning. Before we proceed any further, please do note that we publish 3 videos daily on YouTube. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now let's start with what is classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is also called Pavlian's or respondent conditioning. It is a learning process in which a biological potent stimulus, that is food, is coupled alongside what was a neutral stimulus, for example a bell. We'll discuss about this later in the video. It also attributes the process of learning that comes from this coupling. Neutral stimulus, example a bell, is delivered through it. It gets a response, example salivation. It is a lot like the one brought by potent stimulus. Ivan Pavlov researched this in 1897. Moving on to Pavlov's experiment. Pavlov conducted a study to condition dogs to salivate. This leads to classical conditioning. In these studies, food was the unconditional stimulus because its influences were independent of former experience. The sound of the bell was initially a neutral stimulus, as in, it didn't make dogs salivate. Once conditioning is done, this sound of the bell turned into a conditioned stimulus. The outcome of it is based on how it is related to the food. Similarly, the dog's reactions go through the identical conditioned versus unconditioned arrangement. The conditioned response, as in the salivation, is a response to the conditioned stimulus, in this case the bell ringing now, whereas the unconditioned response, that is salivation, corresponds to the unconditioned stimulus, that is food. Moving on. As mentioned, it was commonly believed that the conditioned response is an imitation of the unconditioned response. In this case, now the conditioned response is the dog salivating on the sound of the bell, whereas the unconditioned response earlier was the dog salivating at the sight of seeing food. However, Pavlov observed that there is a difference in the composition of saliva elicited by the conditioned stimulus compared to the one elicited by the unconditioned stimulus. In fact, the conditioned response may be any new response to the previously neutral conditioned stimulus that can be clearly linked to experience with the conditional relationship of the conditioned stimulus and the unconditioned stimulus. It was believed that repeated pairings are important for conditioning to take place. However, a single trial is enough for many conditional responses. This is particularly true for fear conditioning and taste aversion learning. Moving on to the types of classical conditioning. Pavlov also classified several kinds of classical conditioning. These were forward conditioning, simultaneous conditioning, backward conditioning, and temporal conditioning. Classical conditioning might be an essential factor in some kinds of social phenomena like false consensus effect. It is also used in many fields like analyzing the neural bias, memory and learning, behavioral therapies, conditioned drug response, and hunger, etc. Moving on to classical conditioning examples. Example 1. When a father comes home with a cricket bag slung across his shoulder, he takes his child to play cricket at the local park. Thus, every time the child sees the father with a cricket kit, they get excited as they have associated the cricket bag with the game of cricket. This is an example of classical conditioning. Next, a location related to a person. A person may end up visiting a spot with someone they know and were close to multiple times. As time goes on, the person will start associating that location with a friend or partner. Passing by that area, even when alone, might trigger memories of that person and feelings of bitterness or fondness because of the relationship shared and the association. This association also comes from classical conditioning. Moving further, advertisers will associate their products with positive things, as in white shining teeth, a brand new house, and more attractiveness with their products. If this message is repeated enough times, then the audience, as in the customers, learn to associate the product with the desired outcome. They become more likely to buy it. Moving on to some further examples. First, the owner takes the dog out in car to the vet. The unconditioned stimulus is owner urging dog into car. The neutral stimulus turned conditioned stimulus, the sound of the car starting. And the conditioned response or respondent behavior is a dog is afraid and resists. The other example, owner returns with new items. The unconditioned stimulus is the new treat or toys. The neutral stimulus turned conditioned stimulus is a shopping bag in which the owner gets the toys. And the conditioned response on the respondent behavior would be the dog is happy and excited. Moving on to classical conditioning versus operant conditioning. Operant and classical conditioning are two very crucial ideas that are at the core of behavioral psychology. The process they undergo are very different, although, however, both of them lead to learning. In classical conditioning, the behavior is altered through a correlation to various stimuli. In operant conditioning, the behavior is changed by the outcome they evoke. Example, either a punishment or a reward. Because of this process, the consequences of the behavior and the behavior itself are correlated with one another. Now let's differentiate between classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning was discovered by Pavlov, the operant conditioning was discovered by Skinner. Similarities, they both are learning by association. Difference between two conditioning, classical conditioning changes involuntary behavior or reflex, operant conditioning change voluntary behavior. Classical conditioning is all about passive learning, that is involuntary learning. Operant conditioning is all about active learning or voluntary learning. Moving further, classical conditioning turned the neutral stimulus into a conditioned stimulus to elicit a behavior. In operant conditioning, reinforcement as in punishment after a behavior to strengthen or weaken it is applied. In classical conditioning, there is no reward. In operant conditioning, there might be a reward. In classical conditioning involves forming an association with some sort of already naturally occurring event. For operant conditioning to work, the subject might first display a behavior that can either be rewarded or punished. And finally, in classical conditioning, the stimulus comes before the response. In operant conditioning, behavior comes first and is then either rewarded or punished. Moving on to operant conditioning examples. Example 1. Every time a kid has vegetables he doesn't like, his parents ensure to give him treat he enjoys. This treat is positive reinforcement. Its role is to encourage the target behavior. In this case, it is eating green vegetables. The other example. Dog trainers teach dogs to sit down on command through operant conditioning. If the dog obeys, the trainer gives it a snack. This way, the dog is thus taught to sit whenever the owner tells them to. Moving on to classical and operant conditioning combined examples. First, conditioning children. Young children don't like to study. In this case, the parents might decide to promise the child that they will watch a superhero movie together if the child agrees to spend a few hours with books. Gradually, the child will end up associating study with the future reward. This encourages them to study. Next, circus animal training. A lot of animals are taught to behave in a particular way on command in circuses. Every time a command is given and the animal doesn't obey, it is treated to negative reinforcement. Eventually, the animal, say a lion, learns to jump through a hoop on command. Though such negative reinforcement techniques in animals have been widely criticized, it is used to be standard practice in circuses. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on classical conditioning. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. If you've liked the video, do subscribe to our channel where you'll witness 3 new videos daily. Additionally, if you want to view these videos in an organized manner, you can visit freecourses.net, where all our videos are arranged in the form of courses. Thank you and see you in the next video.